Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And in this video, I'm going to explain that what are the best ships that you can get from this trade-in event. Now, there are only a couple of ships that you can obtain from this trade-in event, and you can see there is a tier 9 premium destroyer Minegumo and Karl XIV Johan at tier 9 battleship, all the way to Agincourt at tier 5, a battleship and a destroyer at tier 5. There are a variety of ships, there is even a CV. So I will explain that which are the best ships that you can get from this event and whether they are worth it or not. And let me explain them how and why. So the first ship that I would definitely recommend is going to be Karl XIV Johan. It's a European battleship at tier 9. It's a premium battleship which is pretty unique at its tier. And the thing about the Karl XIV Johan is that it does have 12 305mm guns with a pretty decent reload time at 25 seconds. But you might not be getting pretty much impressed by this caliber because it's only 305. But what is really interesting about this battleship that unlike anything for a battleship, it does have these 16 torpedoes, 8 on each side on the left right, and they have actually Oster-Gotland torpedoes, a tier 9 Tech 3 destroyer torpedoes slapped on a battleship. In fact, you have 16 of these torpedoes, not 8, and they have 13.5 kilometer range. The torpedo damage, even though it's pretty low at 10,700, but then you do have 86 knots of speed, and they are not really much going to, get spotted quickly. Like they are not Shimakaze, 2.5 kilometer range, detection torpedoes. They're gonna hit the battleships and they will not going to be having an easy time dodging that. That's the reason why Karl XIV Johan is pretty good. Not only that it is good in that regard, it also have really good anti-defense at its tier, and you do have obviously torpedoes as well as really good concealment. Your concealment can get down to 10.6 kilometer, which is pretty insane at tier 9 for a battleship. And you also have secondaries. Your secondary DPM is pretty insane, if you just see the numbers here, you can see you do have 150mm guns, 14 of them, which is pretty hilariously high. And you do also have other secondary battery, which is 120mm. So they are very good in setting fires. And if you build it for secondary, these secondaries have range of 10.5 kilometer. You can see here, I have the weird secondary build in Karl XIV Johan. If you just build it for that, it's going to be pretty fun and enjoyable experience. Now you do also have hydroacoustic search, and that's why I do have hydroacoustic search mod 1. That's totally up to you. But I felt that the Karl XIV Johan is definitely a very interesting pick for trade-in event, and you will definitely going to enjoy it in random battles. Certainly if you like torpedo boat destroyers. So this battleship has destroyer capabilities. So you can just send these torpedoes and have fun time sending them to battleships, and they will take these torpedoes, which is pretty hilarious, yet at the same time is going to be fun with really good secondary power. So that is pretty much a best battleship that you can buy for this trade-in event. I have done this myself too, so you should be doing that as well if you want to. But there are a couple of other ships that I would talk about in this video as well. So let's go. Now the other battleship that I would highly recommend is going to be Brandenburg. Now Brandenburg is at tier 8 and it's a German battleship that also have again 12 305mm guns, and the reload time is not that high compared to Karl XIV Johan. It's only slightly higher at 26.5 seconds. But the good thing about the Brandenburg is that you do have German secondaries and having pretty decent penetration. You can see here if you do have IFHE and especially Gunther Lutyens as commander for Brandenburg, you do have now with IFHE, as I can show you here. This is IFHE build that I have for Brandenburg. You can have 32mm armor penetration on 105mm guns, as well as pretty decent penetration at 47mm. So you can just spend battleships at this tier, and you, unlike maybe Karl XIV Johan with the 13.5 kilometer torpedoes, they are only having 6 kilometer torpedoes, but still they are pretty good, just like Tirpitz at tier 8. So I think Brandenburg is also a really nice pick. Even though I won't say that the anti-defense is going to be that impressive, but you do have a spotter or even fighter if you want to use it. If you don't like carriers, I think fighter can be sometimes useful. So there's exactly that. Your concealment isn't going to be very impressive, and your firing range is also 18.5, but that's okay at tier 8, I would say. So overall, I think the Brandenburg is going to be giving you a lot of fun, because you can see it does have this armor plating of 80mm. As you can see here, this is pretty unique and interesting. It will give you some, survivability against some shells that are, coming on your way. I mean, for example, Azuma, heavy cruiser like Azuma, Yoshino, they will not going to penetrate this armor belt. So that's pretty good. But you do have a gigantic superstructure, and because high armor thickness means that you are going to get penetrated quite often against battleships. So this is something that you should be keeping in mind. And well, I would say Brandenburg is a really good pick if you want to take in for a trade-in event. So that's pretty good. Okay, so another cruiser this time that is pretty interesting and worthy to pick is going to be San Diego. And the reason why I would say San Diego is a pretty worthwhile pick is because it does have SAP as well as AP at the same time. Now, I mean, SAP does have pretty decent DPM. You do have 5.5 seconds of reload time on these guns. You do have a lot of guns, as you can see here. 8x2 means that you do have a lot of DPM against a broadside battleship with SAP shells. You do have okay anti-defense. I mean, you do have defensive AFR, and you do also have pretty decent concealment. So the thing about the San Diego is that it also have coming up with a reload booster that you can pop on a broadside cruiser or battleship, and you can just smash their HP pretty quickly. I mean, you do have SAP DPM, which is 314k, and you can just double it by using a reload booster, which is pretty good at this tier. But in terms of its armor, I won't say it's going to be pretty impressive compared to Austin. Now, it does not have this 32mm side plating, as you can see here, which does help a lot for Austin at tier 10. It's a steel cruiser, but San Diego does not have this. But you still do have heal and reload booster, main battery reload booster. That does help a lot. So if you want to buy San Diego, I think definitely a fun cruiser. But again, if you are looking for a tanky cruiser, I think San Diego is not going to be one of them, because it does have pretty absurdly low HP at 27,000. But again, just like I said, you do have heals, and you do also have torpedoes to protect yourself at close quarters. And well, with all that said, San Diego is going to be a pretty decent pick if you want to take in randoms for sure. Okay, so there's another battleship that I would highly recommend, but it is at lower tiers, which is Agincourt, a British battleship that I would say is very interesting in terms of its secondary capabilities. Now, in terms of its gunpowder, it does have a lot of guns. As you can see, you do have a lot of guns, 305mm, but it does have absurdly long reload time and a poor sigma at around 1.4. I don't exactly remember the sigma, but it is relatively poor, so don't expect the guns to perform well on any broadside battleship and expecting to do a lot of damage, since the dispersion isn't going to be that impressive. But what is really impressive is going to be the secondaries. Now, these secondaries are insane in terms of its damage per minute. And I'm talking about a Schlieffen damage per minute, but at this tier, at tier 5. So Agincourt has insane secondary firepower, and even though it does not going to have insanely high range, but again, it does have enough range at this tier. I mean, it's tier 5, so you're not going to expect to have battleships running around like 19-18 kilometers like at tier 10. So Agincourt is going to be pretty fun, I would say. Your concealment can go like around 10-ish kilometers, which is pretty nice, even though you don't have anti-air at all. So yeah, if you hate carriers, you will hate even more in Agincourt, because it does not have A at all whatsoever. Even though you do have airstrike, so it's pretty much normal airstrike, you can be okay against submarines. But if you push in with this ship and use your secondary firepower correctly on battleship, cruisers, and destroyers, you're going to have absolutely amazing time in this ship. You do also have pretty decent HP pool at 48,000, and because of these capabilities, I would say Agincourt is going to be pretty interesting ship and a fun ship to pick for at least for randoms. Even for ranked battles, Agincourt is going to be also pretty strong. So definitely don't miss out on Agincourt. If you have any possibility of getting this ship and trade in, definitely pick this ship out. It is definitely pretty much worth it. Okay, so another ship And in this case, it's going to be a Tier 8 American premium destroyer, and that is Good Old Kid. It's a Tier 8 premium destroyer that I would highly recommend to get from this trade-in even. And the reason why I would say Kid is pretty good is because, well, it does have a HP pool of 16,700, which you can get up from Survivability Expert. But the thing about the Kid is that you can have 4 heals in a destroyer at Tier 8, which is really nice, because, well, if you do have heals and if you have taken a fight against destroyer, you can heal back some of your HP, and in this case quite a bit of your HP at this tier, and it does help a lot in taking on engagements, a very good engagement against other destroyers. And you do also have smoke generator, as well as if you do want to have defensive AFire, you do have this capability as well. Even though the defensive A of this tier 8 destroyer, American destroyer, is not going to be that impressive, but you do have pretty decent concealment at 5.8 kilometers, so you can outspot quite a lot, I'm sorry guys, but you can outspot quite other destroyers at this tier, and you can have pretty good time in this ship. It does have pretty good capabilities. As you can see here, you do have these American smokes. Your firepower is also pretty good. As you can see, it does have 3.2 seconds of reload time with 5 of this main battery guns, which is 127mm. Your DPM is pretty decent, 170k HE DPM. It's pretty good. You do have this good capability in taking down DDs, as well as outspotting a lot of destroyers at this tier. Combined with the fact that you do have American smokes, just like I said, you can be a pretty interestingly good, destroyer and you can win certainly a lot of games by using Kid. You do have torpedoes, but the torpedoes are only 5 of them. They are only having 9.2 kilometer range, so don't expect much from this. But apart from that, I think Kid is going to be pretty good destroyer to pick for this trade-in event. Sorry guys if I messed up a bit here and there. Sometimes it's not easy to talk in English because I am not a native English speaker. But I hope you get some value from this video. I want to showcase you some ships out there which are pretty worthy to get from trade-in event, and I think this video does help a bit for you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and please comment me down below what are your thoughts on these trade-in ships, and what ships are you actually getting from this trade-in event. Please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys later. So thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you into the next one. Peace out.